Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Scott's Soldiers. Summer is coming to a close, and some of you may have attended the 2024 Chicagoland Toy Soldier Show or plan on being at a similar event in your region. Here in Eastern Ontario, the Ontario Model Soldier Society did its annual parking lot sale in Ottawa, and it was a chance for both seller and vendor to do a little trading on a sunny afternoon. This event did not have a lot of moving parts, and so it shows what a little bit of effort and determination can do. The reward is that vendors and sellers have more options and flexibility in how they interact and transact sales. And I think any event is a good reason to skip chores and follow your passion, so let's dive into what was available for a couple of hours on a summer afternoon. It's been said on numerous occasions that some of the best opportunities to buy or sell toy soldiers are at local shows or events. This sale was promoted on the OMSS Facebook pages and by word of mouth. The idea was simple: show up, set up your own table, no fees, bring cash. While I had no idea what people were bringing, I'm sure that if I had reached out to the vendors in advance, they could have brought figures or sets tailored to my interests or collection. After all, they want to increase the likelihood of a sale as much as possible. Regardless, I went with cash, an open mind on what might be available, and focused on getting images and ideas to develop this episode. There were boxed 1/6 figures at most of the tables. This vendor had a number of storage containers with figures, uniforms, and assorted add-ons. I've heard some speak that enthusiasm for 1/6 figures is waning, but every event I go to, there they are. While I don't collect this scale, I am always interested in what is available and hearing other buyers talk about this facet of the hobby. Books and related printed material are something I always keep an eye out for. Just check out some of my earlier videos on books. While buying print material at retail prices from stores or publishers can be expensive, the secondhand market is your best bang for the buck. Often the books at shows are specific to the hobby and are a simple, less expensive way to add to your library and overall knowledge. I saw quite a few plastic sets from European brands for sale. Whether for wargaming or just collecting, there was a decent selection available, and maybe a hard-to-find or bucket list item. Again, something I don't collect, but I appreciate the low cost of buying, the diversity of themes, and the amount of detail they have as standalone figures or blended in with metal figures of similar scale and style. Was this a day well spent? I think so. The location was central, the entrance was free, the company was collegial, and the prices were reasonable. As I have said before, local events are always a good bet if you're selling or buying. Yes, you can travel to larger, more regional events. These are larger, with more vendors, and certainly a greater variety of items for sale. But your local, smaller events should not be overlooked or avoided. I always seem to find something of interest, and so do others that I saw buying that afternoon. While the photograph of this box of figures doesn't do it proper justice, they contain single figures, some painted, others sold as castings from Russia and other sources. This was actually someone downsizing their own collection, including a selection of books. Remember, it's not always just figures that you will find or should be looking for at these sales. The books were all in good condition, and if you collected along medieval themes and wanted to learn more about castles, here was a source of books on the subject. This vendor was selling a lot of figures, some boxed and some loose. Buying box figures is simple. You find a box label that interests you, open and inspect the contents, and begin the sales process. But as many of you know, loose figures such as these in large trays present a whole different challenge. It's like trying to pick up shells along the beach or rummaging through someone's garage. There will be lots of stuff that doesn't interest you. You could be seeing damaged or incomplete figures, so it takes a discerning eye, patience, and sometimes a little assistance from the vendor. I know this vendor, and these loose pieces were all in very good shape. It's just that the boxes were missing. As you can see, there was a wide choice of gloss figures available, largely from British new toy soldier makers, who for the most part are no longer in business. His box figures represented the same time and genre, and you can see that. If you collected Toy Army Workshop, this was the place to be. I actually picked up these figures, which were unboxed and described to me as the Queen's Own Rifles of Canada, circa 1870. I selected 5 riflemen at attention with a single bugler. They have the green rifleman's tunics, pillbox cap, and the sword bayonet on the likely Snyder Enfield rifle. Or maybe they're just green army men after all. Now take a look at this table. There was a good selection of more modern Britons, some loose Mignon mounted figures, and some plastics still boxed. There was also framed prints if that was of interest. Another vendor was selling a variety of modern Britons, plastics, and books. The coffee table book, The Art of the Toy Soldier, was, I think, a good price. Remember, that is $40 Canadian. You might have been able to negotiate that down if you purchased more items from the seller. As I said earlier, it was a worthwhile time that otherwise would have been spent doing something akin to work. I hope you enjoyed this glimpse of the sale, and it encouraged you to get out to a similar event where you reside. Hit the like and or subscribe buttons, and until next time, keep collecting.